Welcome back to Liberty Coin USA, exciting journey into the world of Washington quarter dollar coins of the United States of America. The Washington quarter is one of the most recognizable coins in American history. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the quarter has remained an important part of U.S. coinage for generations. But did you know that some Washington quarters can be worth far more than their 25-cent face value? Certain rare dates, mint marks, unusual varieties, minting errors, silver issues, and coins in exceptional condition can attract collectors and potentially sell for hundreds, thousands, or even much more. Some extraordinary examples have reached very high auction prices. Let's get started. The first up, 1977 Washington quarter dollar, is an interesting United States coin that attracts attention from collectors because of its historical background, its classic Washington design, and the possibility of finding examples in unusually brilliant condition. The 1977 quarter was produced during an important period in American coinage when the United States Mint was striking enormous numbers of quarters for everyday circulation. The coin carries the famous portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse. When a 1977 quarter has the D Mint mark, it indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions of these quarters were made, so the date by itself does not normally make the coin rare. However, collectors often look more closely at condition, strike quality, surface, preservation, luster, and unusual varieties when determining whether a particular example deserves special attention. The history. Washington quarter begins much earlier than 1977. The first Washington quarters were introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The original concept was intended as a commemorative issue, but the design became so popular that the Washington quarter entered regular circulation. For decades, the quarter remained one of the most recognizable coins in American currency. By 1977, the Washington quarter had already become a familiar part of daily American life. People used quarters for shopping, vending machines, parking meters, and many other transactions. The 1977 issue therefore represents a continuation of a long-running American coin tradition. Collectors today can appreciate the coin not only for its potential value, but also as a small historical object connected with American commerce and national identity. The D Mint mark is one of the most important details to examine on this particular coin. A small letter D appears on the obverse near the lower portion of the design and identifies the Denver Mint as the production facility. Mint marks allow collectors to distinguish coins made at different United States Mint locations. The Denver Mint has played a major role in producing American circulating coinage for generations. A 1977 D Washington quarter is therefore not a mysterious coin simply because it carries the D mark. It is a regular issue from the Denver facility. The real interest comes when the coin is found with exceptional preservation, unusual characteristics, or recognized variety. Collectors should always examine the mint mark area carefully, because coins can sometimes show striking characteristics that make an otherwise common issue more interesting. One of the most important factors in determining the current market value of a 1977 D Washington quarter is condition. A heavily circulated example with scratches, dirt, wear, and dull surfaces will normally have little premium above its ordinary face value. A coin described as brilliant condition can be much more attractive because it may retain strong original luster and sharp design details. However, the word brilliant does not automatically mean rare or extremely valuable. Collectors generally rely on professional grading standards when judging the quality of a coin. An uncirculated coin with excellent surfaces can be worth more than a example, but the exact value depends on grade, rarity, strike quality, and market demand. A spectacular high-grade example can attract considerably more attention than an ordinary circulated quarter. The design of the Washington quarter also gives the coin several unique visual features that collectors enjoy examining. The obverse displays the portrait of George Washington facing left with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date 1977. The reverse features a large American eagle with outstretched wings surrounded by inscriptions representing the denomination and national identity. These designs were created to give the coin a strong patriotic character, while remaining practical for mass production. The details around Washington's portrait and the eagle can reveal the amount of circulation the coin has experienced. On a brilliant example, the fields may show attractive mint luster, and the lettering can appear crisp. Collectors also inspect the rim's surfaces and high points for evidence of contact marks, or where another important subject is the possibility of varieties and errors. A normal 1977 D quarter is generally a common United States circulating coin and should not automatically be described as a rare coin, yet coin collecting has many examples where unusual minting characteristics create additional interest. Possible features can include double design elements, off-center strikes, die cracks, filled dies, and other production anomalies. Not every unusual-looking mark is a genuine mint error. Damage after the coin left the mint can create scratches, dents, flattening, or other effects that may resemble errors. Serious collectors therefore compare questionable coins with known examples and may seek professional authentication. When an important variety is suspected, a genuine dramatic mint error can be substantially more interesting to collectors than a normal example. The current market value in dollars can vary greatly depending on the individual coin. Most ordinary circulated 1977 D Washington quarters are not considered high dollar rarities, and many remain close to their normal spending value. Brilliant uncirculated examples can command a premium when they have attractive luster, clean surfaces, and strong strikes. Higher certified grades can become increasingly desirable because fewer coins may survive with exceptional preservation. The market can also change depending on collector demand, auction results, and the availability of comparable coins. Therefore, it is risky to claim that every 1977 D quarter is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The correct approach is to examine the actual coin carefully and determine its grade and characteristics before estimating a realistic value. If you have a 1977 D quarter that looks unusually brilliant, the first step is to avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can damage the original surface and may reduce collect appeal. Hold the coin carefully by its edges and use good lighting to inspect both sides. Look for original mint luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks. Examine the date and D mint mark closely and check the lettering around the coin. A magnifying glass can help reveal small details, but excessive handling can introduce fingerprints and scratches. If the coin appears exceptionally preserved or has a possible mint error, professional grading may be worth considering. A certified grade provides an independent assessment and can make the coin easier to compare with other examples in the marketplace. The story of the 1977 D Washington quarter is therefore a reminder that rarity is not determined by age alone. A coin can be nearly 50 years old and still be common because large quantities were produced and many examples survived at the same time. A common date can become more interesting when an individual specimen has extraordinary condition, a recognized variety. Genuine mint error. This is why experienced collectors look beyond the date and ask several questions about the coin. Where was it made? How well was it struck? Has it circulated? Are the surfaces original? Does it show an authenticated variety? What grade could it receive? These questions help separate an ordinary quarter from a potentially important collectible. In conclusion, the 1977 D Washington quarter dollar is a fascinating piece of American coinage with a strong connection to the history of United States currency. Its D mint mark identifies the Denver Mint, while the Washington portrait and eagle design continue the long tradition of the Washington quarter series. The coin is not automatically a rare fortune coin simply because it is from 1977. Most examples are common, but exceptional brilliant condition, genuine mint errors, recognized varieties, and very high certified grades can create additional collector interest and potentially much higher market values in dollars. If you discover one in brilliant condition, take a close look before spending it, because the details of its preservation and production may tell a much more interesting story than its face value suggests. Always compare the exact grade and characteristics of your coin with recent sales before deciding what it may be worth. Next up, 1984 P Washington quarter dollar is an interesting piece of American coinage that can attract collectors who enjoy studying older circulating coins and searching for examples with unusual characteristics. The P mint mark tells us that this quarter was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which has a very long history of making United States coins. The Washington quarter itself had already been in production for more than 50 years by 1984 and had become one of the most familiar denominations in American daily life. A 1984 P quarter in very good condition may look impressive to a collector because of its remaining details and attractive surfaces. However, the date and P mint mark alone do not normally make this coin a major rarity. Its potential market value depends heavily on condition strike quality surface preservation varieties, and whether the coin has a genuine mint era or another collectible characteristic. The history of the Washington quarter goes back to 1932, when the United States introduced the coin to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design became much more than a temporary commemorative issue, and eventually became a permanent part of American circulating coinage. By 1984, the Washington quarter had become a familiar part of everyday transactions across the United States. People used quarters for shopping, vending machines, transportation, parking, and countless other activities. Because enormous numbers of quarters were produced, many examples from the 1980s survived. This means that collectors should not assume that every old-looking quarter is automatically rare. The historical importance of the Washington design remains strong. Even when an individual coin has only a modest collector premium, the P Mint mark is an especially interesting feature for collectors, because it identifies the Philadelphia Mint as the place where the coin was produced. 1984 Washington quarter. The small p can be found on the obverse near the lower area of the design. Mint marks are useful because they allow collectors to distinguish coins made at different United States mint facilities. Philadelphia has played a central role in American coin production since the earliest years of the nation. The presence of the P, therefore, gives the 1984 quarter an important production identity. Collectors should inspect the mint mark carefully and make sure that looking at an authentic mint mark rather than damage or a surface mark. The date and mint mark together establish the basic identity of the coin. Before condition, varieties and errors are considered. The condition of a 1984 P quarter is one of the most important factors affecting its market value. A coin described as very good condition normally shows significant circulation, while retaining enough of the major design to remain clearly identifiable. The highest points of Washington's portrait and the reverse eagle can show noticeable wear on a circulated example. Scratches, contact marks, discoloration, and surface damage can also affect collector appeal. A quarter that has never circulated can be dramatically more attractive and may receive a much higher grade. It is important to understand that ordinary very good condition does not normally make a 1984 P quarter a high-dollar rarity. Collectors generally become much more interested when the coin reaches unusually high grades or displays a recognized era or variety. The unique visual features of the 1984 P Washington quarter include the portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse. Washington faces left and is surrounded by the familiar inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, along with the date 1984. The reverse displays the eagle with its wings extended and the inscriptions United States of America and $quarter on a well-preserved coin. These details can remain sharp and attractive. Collectors often examine the hair details on Washington's portrait and the feathers on the eagle when judging strike quality, and where the fields between the design elements are also important, because heavy scratches or contact marks can lower the appeal of an otherwise attractive specimen. Another fascinating area for anyone searching a 1984 P quarter is the possibility of mint errors and varieties. A normal quarter from this year is generally not considered a rare key date, but unusual production mistakes can make an individual coin much more desirable. Possible error characteristics can include off-center strikes, doubled elements, die cracks, struck-through effects, and other unusual minting abnormalities. However, collectors should be careful, because damage that occurs after a coin leaves the mint can sometimes look like an error. Scratches, dents, bends, and environmental damage are not normally valuable. Mint errors. Authentication becomes particularly important when an unusual feature appears significant. A genuine major mint error can have a completely different market value from an ordinary circulated 1984 P quarter. The current market value in dollars for a 1984 P Washington quarter depends on exactly what you have in your hands. A normal circulated coin in very good condition will generally have a relatively modest value and should not automatically be advertised as a rare coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Examples with stronger preservation may bring a premium, especially when they have attractive original surfaces and higher certified grades. Exceptional uncirculated pieces can receive considerably more attention from collectors who specialize in condition rarity. If a coin has a verified mint error, then the value can rise depending on the type and severity of the error. Market prices also change over time, so the most reliable approach is to compare the exact grade and variety with recent sales rather than relying on a single advertised asking price. If you discover a 1984 P quarter that appears to be in very good or better condition, there are several things you should do before trying to sell it. First, avoid cleaning or polishing the coin, because cleaning can leave permanent marks and reduce collector appeal. Handle it by the edges, and keep fingerprints away from the surfaces. Examine both sides under good lighting, and look closely at the date. Mint mark lettering, rims, and major design details. Check whether the surfaces show normal circulation wear or whether the coin might actually be in a much higher grade. If you notice an unusual doubling, an off-center strike, a major die break, or another potential mint error, it can be useful to compare it with reliable numismatic references. Professional certification can also be considered for a coin that appears unusually valuable. The 1984 P Washington quarter also demonstrates an important lesson in coin collecting, because age and rarity are not the same thing. A coin from the 1980s may be more than 40 years old today, but millions of coins can survive from a particular year. When supply is high, the ordinary examples usually remain affordable. What can make an individual coin special is scarcity in a particular grade or the presence of an authentic unusual feature. This is why experienced collectors inspect coins carefully instead of judging value simply from year printed on the coin. A common date can sometimes become highly desirable when an exceptional example survives with outstanding surfaces and a high professional grade. In conclusion, the 1984 P Washington quarter dollar is an interesting American coin with a long historical connection to the nation's circulating currency. The P mint mark identifies Philadelphia as the production facility, and the classic Washington portrait and eagle design make the coin instantly recognizable. A very good condition example can be attractive to collectors, but the coin should not automatically be considered a rare high-value coin simply because of its age. The current market value in dollars depends on grade, condition, strike quality, surface preservation, recognized varieties, and genuine mint errors. If your 1984 P quarter looks unusually sharp or contains a feature that seems different from a normal coin, then careful examination is worthwhile. Never clean the coin before evaluation, and always compare it with recent market sales and professional grading information when determining its true collectible value. Next up, the 1990 D Washington quarter dollar is an interesting United States coin that continues to attract attention from collectors who enjoy examining older American coins and searching for examples in excellent condition. This quarter carries the D mint mark, which identifies the Denver Mint as the facility where the coin was produced. The Washington quarter has a long history in American coinage, and by 1990, it had already been part of everyday American life for almost 6 decades. Millions of quarters were produced for normal circulation during this period, so the ordinary 1990 D quarter is not automatically considered a rare coin. The real interest begins when a specimen has excellent preservation, strong details, attractive original luster, or an unusual minting characteristic. Collectors therefore look beyond the date and mint mark and carefully examine the overall condition and quality of the individual coin. The history of the Washington quarter began in 1932, when the United States introduced the denomination to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin became one of the most recognizable pieces of American currency and remained in circulation for generations. By 1990, the Washington quarter was a familiar part of daily commerce and was commonly used for purchases, vending machines, parking meters, and many other transactions. The quarter from this period was still made from copper and nickel composition over copper core rather than the silver composition used by earlier Washington quarters. This makes the 1990 issue part of an important period in the development of modern United States coinage. Today, collectors appreciate these coins as examples of late 20th century American monetary history. The D mint mark is one of the first features that collectors should examine on this coin. The small letter D appears on the obverse side near the lower portion of the design and identifies the Denver Mint. The Denver facility has played an important role in producing United States circulating coins for many decades. A 1990 D Washington quarter, therefore, represents an issue made specifically at that facility. The mint mark by itself does not make the coin rare, because large quantities of 1990 D quarters were produced. However, the mint mark becomes important when collectors compare different issues from the same year or investigate possible varieties and errors. A genuine 1990 D quarter should have a properly formed mint mark that matches the characteristics expected for the issue. The condition described as excellent can make this coin more interesting because preservation is extremely important in modern coin. Collecting an excellent example may show strong design details, attractive surfaces, and relatively limited evidence of circulation. Collectors carefully inspect Washington's portrait and the reverse eagle for signs of wear. They also examine the fields around the design, because scratches, contact marks, stains, and other surface problems can influence the value. A coin that looks bright to the eye is not automatically considered uncirculated, because brightness can sometimes result from cleaning or other treatment. Original mint luster is generally much more desirable than an artificially polished surface. For this reason, collectors should avoid cleaning a potentially valuable quarter and should handle it carefully by the edges. The design of the 1990 Washington quarter provides several distinctive features that make the coin easy to identify. The obverse shows a portrait of George Washington facing left with liberty, and in God We Trust surrounding the portrait, along with the date 1990. The reverse features an American eagle with its wings extended, and includes the inscriptions United States of America and $quarter. On an excellent specimen, the lettering should remain clear, and the major design elements should be well defined. The condition of the eagle feathers can provide useful information about strike quality and circulation. Collectors may also examine the rims and fields for unusual marks. Strong original luster, combined with clean surfaces, can make a normal example considerably more attractive than a heavily circulated quarter. One of the most exciting possibilities when examining a 1990 quarter is discovering a genuine mint era or recognized variety. A normal 1990 quarter is generally a common modern issue, but an individual coin with a significant production error can be much more interesting. Collectors may search for characteristics such as off-center strikes, double design elements, die cracks, or other unusual minting effects. It is important to remember that not every unusual mark represents a valuable error. Damage caused after the coin left the mint can create scratches, dents, bends, and other irregularities that may look unusual but normally have little collector value. Serious collectors compare suspected errors with established references and may seek professional authentication. When an important feature is found, the current market value in dollars of a 1990 Washington quarter depends primarily on the exact condition and characteristics of the individual coin. An ordinary circulated example generally has only modest collector value and should not automatically be promoted as a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. An excellent uncirculated example can be more desirable, especially when it has strong luster, clean surfaces, and a high professional grade. Coins that achieve exceptional certified grades may become more interesting because condition rarity can make them scarcer than ordinary examples. A genuine major mint error can also change the value significantly. Market prices can change as collector demand changes, so the best way to estimate the current value is to compare the exact coin with recent sales of similar examples. If you have a 1990 quarter in excellent condition, the safest approach is to examine it carefully before deciding what it is worth. Start by checking the date and confirming the D-mint mark. Then inspect the portrait of Washington and the reverse eagle under good lighting. Look for original luster and examine the fields for scratches or contact marks. Pay special attention to any unusual doubling or unusual shapes around the lettering and design elements. Do not polish the coin or attempt to remove stains, because cleaning can permanently affect the surfaces. If the coin appears exceptionally well preserved or seems to contain a genuine minting error, professional grading and authentication may be worth considering. A certified grade can provide a more reliable basis for comparing the coin with examples sold in the collector market. The 1990 Washington quarter teaches important lesson about modern coin collecting, because a coin does not have to be extremely old to become interesting. At the same time, being several decades old does not automatically make a coin rare. Large production numbers mean that many ordinary 1990 quarters can still be found today. The more important question is whether a particular example is scarce in its condition or has a recognized feature that collectors actively seek. This is why an excellent specimen deserves closer inspection than a heavily worn example. Collectors often search through rolls, boxes, and inherited collections, hoping to find coins that have survived with unusually strong preservation. The excitement comes from discovering what makes one individual coin different from thousands of ordinary examples. In conclusion, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar is an important example of modern American circulating coinage, with a recognizable design and a fascinating connection to the long history of the Washington Quarter series. The D Mint mark identifies the Denver Mint, and the excellent condition described for the coin can increase its collector appeal when the surfaces remain original and well preserved. However, the date and mint mark alone do not make every 1990 D quarter a rare high-dollar coin. The current market value in dollars depends on grade, condition, surface quality, strike characteristics, recognized varieties, and genuine mint errors. If you own one that looks exceptionally sharp and clean, then it is worth examining carefully rather than assuming it is ordinary. A professional grade and comparison with recent market sales can provide the best indication of its actual collectible value. The most exciting discoveries are often hidden in coins that initially appear to be ordinary pocket change. Next up, the 1994 P Washington Quarter Dollar is an interesting modern United States coin that can attract attention when it is discovered in fantastic condition. The P Mint mark identifies the Philadelphia Mint as the place where this quarter was produced. The Washington Quarter is one of the most recognizable coins in American history, and by 1994, it had already been circulating for more than 60 years. A normal 1994 P quarter is not automatically rare coin because large quantities were produced for everyday use. However, fantastic example with excellent surfaces, strong details, and original mint luster can be much more interesting to collectors. The most important point is that the value of an individual coin depends on its actual condition and characteristics, rather than simply the year printed on it. Collectors carefully examine the coin for high-grade preservation, unusual varieties, and genuine mint errors before deciding whether it deserves a significant premium. The history of the Washington Quarter began in 1932, when the United States introduced the design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin quickly became a permanent part of American circulating currency and remained popular with the public. By 1994, the Washington Quarter had become a familiar denomination used every day across the United States. People regularly used quarters in stores, vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, and many other places. The 1994 issue belongs to the modern era of Washington quarters, when the coins were made from a copper-nickel outer layer over copper core. This composition was different from the silver composition used for many earlier Washington quarters. As a result, the 1994 P quarter represents an interesting period in the evolution of American circulating coinage. The P Mint mark is a major identifying feature of this particular coin. The small letter P appears on the obverse side and indicates production at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia has a special place in American numismatic history because it was the nation's original mint facility and has produced United States coins for generations. The presence of the P Mint mark therefore tells collectors where the coin originated within the United States mint system. The P mark itself does not automatically make a 1994 quarter rare because many coins from this issue were produced. Its importance comes from identifying the specific mint issue and allowing collectors to compare it with other 1994 quarters. When examining the coin, it is useful to check the mint mark carefully along with the date and other design elements to confirm the coin's identity. The fantastic condition of a 1994 P quarter can be the most important reason for collector interest. A coin in outstanding condition may have strong original luster, sharp lettering, clean fields, and very little evidence of circulation. Collectors pay close attention to Washington's portrait because the highest points can show where. First, the reverse eagle is also carefully inspected because the feathers and other details can reveal the quality of the strike, and the amount of handling the coin has experienced. Surface marks are especially important because even small contact marks can affect the grade of a modern coin. A coin that looks bright is not necessarily in excellent condition because brightness can sometimes come from cleaning or polishing. Original mint luster is generally preferred, and collectors should avoid cleaning a potentially valuable coin. The unique features of the 1994 P Washington Quarter can be found throughout its classic design. The obverse shows George Washington facing left with the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, along with the date 1994. The reverse displays an American eagle with its wings extended and includes United States of America and quarter dollar. On a fantastic specimen, the design can appear crisp and well-defined. The surfaces may display attractive original luster that moves across the fields when the coin is tilted under light. The rims should also be examined for damage or unusual characteristics. Collectors sometimes use magnification to inspect lettering and design details for possible doubling or other unusual features. These small details can make the process of examining a coin exciting even when the normal issue itself is relatively common. Another reason collectors examine the 1994 P quarter carefully is the possibility of genuine mint errors or recognized varieties. A normal example is not generally considered a major rarity, but a coin with a significant production error can be far more interesting. Potential features can include off-center strikes, doubled design elements, die cracks, struck-through effects, and unusual minting characteristics. It is essential to distinguish a true mint error from damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. Scratches, dents, bends, discoloration, and flattening can change the appearance of a quarter without creating additional collectible value. If an unusual feature looks significant, then comparison with trusted references and professional authentication can help determine whether it is genuine. The stronger and more clearly identifiable the mint error, the greater the potential collector interest. Can become the current market value in dollars for a 1994 P Washington quarter varies according to the exact grade and characteristics of the coin. A normal circulated example usually has only modest collector value and should not automatically be described as a rare coin worth a large amount of money. A fantastic uncirculated specimen can be more desirable when it has excellent surfaces, strong luster, and an attractive strike. Coins that achieve exceptionally high certified grades can sometimes command substantially greater premiums because very few examples may survive at that level of preservation. A verified mint error can also change the value dramatically depending on the type and severity of the error. Because market prices change over time, it is important to compare the exact coin with recent sales rather than relying on a single advertised price found online. If you have a 1994 P quarter that looks fantastic, the first step should be careful inspection rather than cleaning or polishing. Hold the coin by its edges and use good lighting to examine both sides. Confirm the 1994 date and P mint mark, and then inspect Washington's portrait and the eagle on the reverse. Look for original mint luster and check whether the surfaces contain scratches, contact marks, or signs of cleaning. Pay close attention to the lettering and numbers because unusual doubling can sometimes be visible under magnification. Examine the rim for signs of an off-center strike or other unusual production characteristics. If the coin appears exceptionally well preserved or contains a possible major mint error, professional grading may be worthwhile because an independent certification can help establish the coin's condition and authenticity. The 1994 P Washington quarter is also a good reminder that age alone does not determine rarity. A coin from 1994 is now several decades old, but many examples were produced and many survive. The ordinary quarter therefore remains relatively accessible to collectors. What can make one example special is exceptional condition or an unusual characteristic that is genuinely scarce. This concept is known as condition rarity. When a particular coin becomes difficult to find in very high grades, even though lower grade examples are common, collectors who search through old collections and accumulated pocket change may occasionally encounter impressive pieces that have escaped heavy circulation. This is one of the reasons modern coin collecting remains exciting, because an ordinary-looking quarter can sometimes deserve a much closer examination. In conclusion, the 1994 P Washington quarter dollar is a fascinating piece of modern American coinage, with a long historical connection to the Washington quarter series. The P mint mark identifies the Philadelphia Mint, while the classic Washington portrait and American eagle continue a design tradition that began decades earlier. A fantastic condition example can attract more attention because original surfaces, strong luster, sharp details, and minimal marks may make it desirable to collectors. Nevertheless, the date and P mint mark alone do not guarantee a high dollar value. The current market value in dollars depends on the exact grade, surface preservation, strike quality, varieties, and authentic mint errors. If you have a 1994 P quarter that looks unusually impressive, then examine it carefully and avoid cleaning it. Compare its characteristics with recently sold examples and consider professional certification. If the coin appears exceptional, the real treasure may not be the age of the quarter, but the condition and unique features preserved on that individual coin. Next up, the 1998 with P mint mark Washington quarter dollar is an interesting piece of modern American coinage that can attract collectors when it is found in very nice condition. The P mint mark identifies the Philadelphia Mint as the facility where this quarter was produced. The Washington quarter has one of the longest and most recognizable histories among American circulating coins, and by 1998, the design had already been familiar to several generations of Americans. Normal 1998p quarter is not automatically a rare coin, because large numbers were produced for everyday circulation. However, an individual coin with very nice preservation, strong details, attractive original surfaces, or a genuine mint era can be much more interesting. Collectors therefore examine more than the date and mint mark. When determining potential, value the actual condition, the quality of the strike, the surface preservation, and any unusual characteristics all play an important role in deciding whether the coin deserves a premium in the current market. The history of the Washington quarter began in 1932, when the United States introduced the coin to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The original concept was connected with the national celebration of Washington's legacy, but the design became a permanent part of United States coinage over the following decades. The Washington quarter became one of the most familiar coins in American daily life. By 1998, people were using quarters in stores, vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, and many other everyday situations. The 1998 issue belongs to the modern copper-nickel era of the Washington quarter series. Unlike earlier silver quarters, this modern issue uses a copper-nickel outer layer over a copper core. This makes the 1998p quarter an interesting representative of late 20th century American circulating currency. An example of how a familiar denomination continued to serve the public. The P mint mark is an important feature that identifies this specific issue. The small letter P appears on the obverse of the quarter and indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia has a special place in United States numismatic history because the nation's first mint was established there. The facility has produced enormous quantities of American coinage throughout the history of the country. For collectors, the mint mark helps identify where an individual coin was produced and allows different mint issues to be compared. The P mint mark does not by itself make the 1998 quarter rare, because many examples were produced instead. It establishes the coin's identity as a Philadelphia issue. When examining the coin, it is useful to verify the date and mint mark before moving on to questions about grade, varieties, errors, and market value. The very nice condition 1998p quarter can make the individual specimen more appealing to collectors. Condition is especially important with modern coins because many examples exist, and collectors can choose from a large supply. A coin with clean surfaces, strong details, and attractive original mint luster can stand out from ordinary circulated examples. Washington's portrait should be examined carefully for signs of wear and contact marks. The reverse eagle should also be inspected for sharp feather details and evidence of circulation. The fields around the designs can reveal scratches or marks that may lower the coin's grade. It is also important to understand that a shiny coin is not necessarily a high-grade coin, because polishing or cleaning can create an unnatural appearance. Original surfaces are generally preferred by collectors, and valuable coins should never be cleaned simply to make them look brighter. The design of the 1998p Washington quarter contains several unique features. Help identify the coin. The obverse presents the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left with liberty and in God we trust, along with the date 1998. The reverse shows the American eagle with outstretched wings, and the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar. A well-preserved example can display strong lettering and attractive definition throughout the design. Collectors may examine the rims and fields for unusual characteristics, as well as major design elements. Magnification can sometimes reveal small details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Possible doubling around letters or numbers can be particularly interesting, but should be confirmed carefully, because ordinary machine marks and post-mint damage can sometimes create misleading appearances. Another important area of interest is the possibility of mint errors and varieties. A normal 1998p Washington quarter is generally a common modern issue, rather major rarity. However, a genuine mint error can make an individual example much more desirable. Collectors may search for off-center strikes, doubled design elements, die cracks, struck through errors, and other unusual characteristics created during the minting process. The key word is genuine, because damage that happens after a coin leaves the mint does not normally have the same collectible significance. Scratches, dents, bends, chemical discoloration, and other forms of damage can create strange-looking coins without adding substantial value. If a suspected error appears important, then comparison with reliable numismatic references and professional authentication, can help establish whether the feature is actually a recognized mint era. The current market value in dollars of a 1998 Washington quarter depends strongly on its condition and individual characteristics. A normal circulated example usually has limited collector value and should not automatically be considered. A rare coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, a very nice uncirculated specimen may command a premium when it has attractive original luster-clean surfaces and strong design details. The highest certified grades can sometimes bring considerably more attention, because condition rarity can develop when only a small number of surviving coins reach exceptional quality. A major verified mint era can create a separate market and may have a much higher value depending on the type and severity. The era, because prices change with collector demand and auction activity. The best estimate comes from comparing the exact coin with recent sales of similar coins. If you have a 1998 quarter that looks very nice, then careful examination is the best way to determine whether it deserves additional attention. Start by confirming the date and P mint mark on the obverse. Then inspect the portrait of Washington and the American eagle on the reverse. Use good lighting to look for original mint luster and check the fields for scratches, contact marks, or signs of cleaning. Examine the lettering and numbers under magnification. If you suspect doubling or another unusual feature, look around the rim for possible striking abnormalities and compare the coin with photographs of normal examples. Avoid polishing or cleaning the quarter, because such treatment can permanently change the surfaces. If the coin appears exceptionally preserved or has a possible major mint era, professional grading authentication can provide useful information about its condition and authenticity. The 1998 Washington quarter also demonstrates why collectors should not judge a coin only by its age. A coin can be more than 25 years old and still be common, because large quantities were produced, and many examples survived. Rarity comes from limited availability, rather than simply the passage of time. A common coin can become much more interesting when it survives in an unusually high grade or contains a genuine variety. This is especially important for modern coinage, because collectors often search for coins with exceptional condition and attractive surfaces. A very nice 1998 quarter may therefore be worth more than an ordinary circulated example, even though both coins have exactly the same date and mint mark. The individual quality of the coin is what can create additional collector demand. In conclusion, the 1998 Washington quarter dollar, fascinating example of late 20th century American circulating coinage, and a continuation of the famous Washington quarter tradition. The P mint mark identifies the Philadelphia Mint, while the classic portrait of Washington and the American eagle give the coin its familiar appearance. A very nice condition example can be appealing, because modern collectors often seek coins with strong details, original luster, and minimal surface damage. However, the 1998 date and P mint mark alone do not make every example a rare high-value coin. The current market value in dollars depends on grade, condition, surface, quality, strike characteristics, recognized varieties, and genuine mint errors. If your 1998 quarter looks unusually clean and sharp, then it deserves a careful examination before being spent. Avoid cleaning it and compare its exact characteristics with recent market sales. A normal example may remain modestly valued, while an exceptionally preserved or genuinely unusual specimen could attract much greater collector interest. Thanks for watching.